I still remember the call I got that morning. It was a friend of mine, Clara, asking if I could cover a wedding in her place because she caught the flu. It was supposed to be at an old church just outside the city, newly renovated after years of abandonment. I hesitated at first, but work had been slow, and I didn't want to pass up the pay. She sent me the address, and I packed my camera, lenses, and lights before heading out. The church stood at the end of a long dirt road, surrounded by trees that blocked most of the light. From the outside, it looked beautiful, modernized, but there was something about the air that felt heavy. The moment I stepped inside, I caught a faint smell of damp wood and flowers low wilted. The renovation must have been recent, because there were still faint paint stains on the pews. A woman greeted me, the bride, Leanne. She was kind, nervous, and radiant. I introduced myself, showed her my setup, and went to work photographing the place before the ceremony began. The ceremony started smoothly. The groom looked calm, the guests cheerful, and the choir filled the hall with soft hymns. I moved quietly down the aisle, capturing every moment. When the bride began her slow walk forward, I shifted to the side and started taking burst shots. That's when I saw it. In the first row, to the left, where the bridesmaids were supposed to be seated, I noticed someone sitting perfectly still. At first, I thought it was just one of them waiting for the right cue, but something about her caught my eye. Her dress was white, pure white, not pastel pink like the others. Her veil covered her face completely, and her hands were resting motionless on her lap. I blinked, thinking it was a trick of the light, but when I adjusted my lens, I could see her clearly. The way she sat felt wrong, stiff, like a doll propped upright. Her head was slightly tilted, as though she was watching me through that veil. I looked away, convinced my mind was playing tricks. The ceremony continued, and when I turned back a few seconds later, that seat was empty. I didn't think much of it then. Weddings are hectic. People move around. Maybe it was just a guest who took the wrong seat. After the ceremony, I spent hours taking photos of the newlyweds, their families, and the reception. Everything seemed normal again. By the time I got home that night, I was exhausted. I plugged in my memory cards and began sorting the pictures. The first few shots were perfect. The lighting, the framing, everything looked beautiful. But when I reached the sequence from the ceremony, my stomach tightened. In the photo where the bride was walking down the aisle, there she was again. The same figure in white, seated in the front row. Only this time, her veil was slightly lifted, and beneath it, I could see a pale, bruised face staring straight into the camera. I froze. My hands started to shake. I zoomed in, and every detail became clearer. The hollow eyes, the torn lip, the unnatural stillness. I checked the next photo. She was gone. I checked the next one, and she was there again, closer this time. I thought maybe it was an editing glitch, some camera malfunction, but every file showed her at a different distance, like she was getting closer with each shot. In the final frame of that sequence, she was standing at the edge of the aisle, just behind the bride. Her mouth was open. I called Leanne immediately, stuttering through my words. I told her something was wrong with the pictures. She sounded confused. "What do you mean someone else in white?" "There was no one else wearing a gown," she said. I asked if maybe a relative wore something similar, but she insisted it wasn't allowed. The only white gown at the wedding was hers. That night, I couldn't sleep. I left my computer on, the photo still open. At around 2 a.m., I heard my camera shutter click by itself. I thought maybe I had left it on, but when I went to check, it was turned off. I felt a chill crawl up my back. I picked up the camera and checked the display. There was a new photo saved on it. It was a picture of my living room, taken from behind the couch. In the corner of the frame, something white was standing. The same white gown, the same veil. I dropped the camera. I didn't even try to look again. I shut everything off, locked my doors, and stayed up until sunrise with the lights on. The next morning, I convinced myself it was all some sort of corruption in the files. I deleted the photos, formatted my SD cards, and even wiped the drive clean. But later that day, when I opened my laptop to work on another project, I found a new folder on the desktop titled Bride. Inside were hundreds of copies of the same photo, her sitting in the church pew, her face slowly turning toward the camera in each one. That night, the lights began flickering. I heard soft dragging sounds coming from my hallway. I told myself it was my mind playing tricks again, that I'd been staring at screens too long. But when I looked toward the hallway, I saw a faint shape reflected in the mirror. A woman in white, standing completely still. Her veil hung low, and her head was tilted the same way it had been in the church. I backed away, terrified, but when I blinked, she was gone. I spent the rest of the night in my car, too scared to stay inside. I don't know if I fell asleep or passed out, but when I woke up, the passenger window was fogged from the inside, and there were handprints pressed against the glass. I called Leanne again, desperate for answers. She didn't pick up, so I called her husband. He answered after a few rings, sounding distant and uneasy. "You shouldn't have taken those pictures," he said quietly. The church, it wasn't just renovated. It was rebuilt over the old grounds. There used to be another church there before, and it burned down 50 years ago. During a wedding, he told me the bride back then had died in her gown, waiting at the altar while everyone else escaped. Some say she still waits for her ceremony to finish, that she appears whenever another couple gets married in the same place. I hung up before he could finish. That night, the air in my apartment grew thick and cold. I tried to sleep, but my camera started clicking again from the other room. I could hear it taking pictures one after another. When I gathered the courage to check, I found it sitting on the table, facing my bedroom door. The shutter clicked again, once, and the display lit up, showing the preview. It was me, sleeping in bed. And beside me, lying under the sheets, was someone in white. I didn't remember taking that photo. My body went cold when I realized the angle wasn't possible. It was shot from the corner of my room, near the wardrobe. I never placed my camera there. I tore off the sheets and looked around. Nothing. My heart raced so fast, I thought it would burst. The apartment felt wrong, like someone was hiding behind the walls. Every shadow looked like it was breathing. I packed my bag and drove straight to Clara's place, the one who originally offered me the job. I told her everything, my voice shaking as I showed her the pictures. She didn't say anything at first. Then she whispered, "You saw her too." My blood froze. She went to her desk drawer and pulled out her own camera. I was supposed to photograph that wedding last year, remember? Before I got sick, they postponed it then. I saw her in my test shots. She opened a folder on her computer. I could barely breathe as I saw the same image, the same woman in white sitting in the pews, her head tilted in that unnatural angle. I thought it was my assistant playing a prank, Clara said, her eyes wide. But when I got home that night, my photos started changing. Every time I opened them, she moved closer. I felt dizzy. Clara told me she deleted everything and smashed her camera the next morning. It stopped after that, she said, though her hands trembled. But you took her picture again. You woke her up. I didn't know what to say. I drove home in silence, my mind racing with fragments of her words. When I opened the door, the apartment was freezing. My computer was on, though I'd left it off. The same folder was open again, but this time the title had changed. It now read, Home. Inside, every photo was from my apartment, from angles that shouldn't exist, behind the shower curtain, from under the bed, from inside the closet. In every photo, she was there, standing closer, clearer, her veil thinning each time until her entire face was visible. Her skin was cracked like burned porcelain, and her mouth hung slightly open, as if frozen mid-scream. I slammed the laptop shut and grabbed a hammer from the drawer. I destroyed the camera first, then smashed the computer until it sparked. The screen went black, but the air stayed heavy, thick with that smell again, old wood and rotting flowers. I tried to leave, but the door wouldn't open. No matter how much I pulled, it felt like something was holding it shut from the other side. I turned to find my apartment lights flickering again, and then, faintly, I heard the sound of footsteps dragging across the floorboards. They were slow, deliberate, and coming from the direction of my bedroom. I backed away, trembling so hard I could barely stand. The sound grew louder, closer, and with it came the faint creak of fabric sliding against the floor. My heart pounded as I saw her. She stepped out from the shadows of the hallway, her veil brushing the ground. Her gown was blackened and torn, as if she had crawled out of ash. Her face was twisted with something that didn't belong in the world of the living. She moved toward me without a sound, each step heavy, controlled. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. I stumbled backward, tripping over a chair, and the moment I hit the floor, she was already above me. She didn't move like a person. It was like gravity bent for her. The fabric of her dress dragged across my arm, ice cold and damp. She leaned close, and through the veil, I saw her eyes. They were empty, yet I felt them digging into me, seeing everything. Her hand rose slowly and touched my cheek. It felt like fire and frost at once. I couldn't breathe. My vision dimmed, and the last thing I remember was her whispering something I couldn't understand, words that sounded broken, ancient, like vows that never ended. When I woke up, it was morning. My apartment door was wide open. Everything looked normal again, except for my camera. It was sitting on the table, perfectly intact. I didn't fix it. I know I didn't. I picked it up, terrified, and turned it on. The battery was full, the memory card empty. But when I checked the file count, it said there were 13 hidden files. I connected it to a borrowed laptop just to see what they were. Each file was a picture of me, sleeping, eating, sitting at my desk, all from angles that I didn't notice before. And in each one, she was there, standing a little closer, a little clearer. The final image was of me sitting exactly as I was in that moment, looking at the screen. And right behind me, over my shoulder, her face filled the frame completely. I threw the laptop across the room. I ran to the mirror. I was alone. I kept telling myself I was alone, but the reflection flickered. For a split second, I saw the veil again, hanging over my shoulder like a shadow waiting to fall. That night, I went back to the church. I thought maybe returning what she wanted would end it. I brought the remains of my broken camera and placed them on the altar. The air inside felt colder than before. My flashlight kept dimming no matter how many times I replaced the batteries. In the center aisle, I saw the same first-row seat. It was still empty, but the wood around it looked burned, blackened. I whispered an apology. I don't know why. Maybe I thought it would help. Then, somewhere in the silence, I heard the faintest sound, soft footsteps behind me. When I turned, my light caught a faint reflection. The lens of a camera, old and cracked, lying on the floor. It flashed once, blinding me. When my vision cleared, the church was filled with smoke. I could see her silhouette standing at the altar, waiting, holding out her hand toward me. I don't remember leaving the church. I woke up outside, covered in dust and ashes, my bag gone. My hands were burned, and when I looked down, there were fragments of white fabric stuck to my clothes. I thought maybe it was over, that she had taken what she wanted, but I was wrong. It's been 3 weeks since then, Every reflective surface in my apartment shows her somewhere in the background. In the glass of the TV, in the window when it rains, even in the dark of my phone screen when it turns off. Each night, she gets closer. Sometimes I wake up to the sound of a camera shutter. Sometimes it's her whisper, repeating those same broken vows in my ear. I tried moving, changing cities, even throwing away all my equipment, but it doesn't matter. She follows the image, not the person. And once she's been captured, she can't be erased. I stopped taking photos altogether. I don't even look at mirrors anymore. But tonight, the camera on my phone just turned on by itself. I can see my reflection on the screen. And behind me, she's standing there again, veil gone, smiling, holding out her hand like she's ready for the next picture. If anyone finds this recording, don't open the files I sent. Don't look at the photos. If you've already seen her, it's too late. She find you next. Because now, every time a flash goes off in the dark, every time a camera clicks, she steps a little closer, still waiting for her wedding to end. Thank you for tuning in. Please leave a like and subscribe. I will see you again next week.